Are you seeing anyone now or are you single?
Hi everyone, my name is Keanan. I'm from 11A and I'm the secretary for the Student Council.
And I'm Marcel from 11A and I'm the head of academics for Student Council.
And in today's episode of ConFESsed, we will be doing something a bit different. Instead of a podcast, we'll be having a Q&A session. And as you guys have noticed, maybe, in our Instagram page, we've opened a question and answer session, basically a question box. And today, we'll be answering questions about those. So let's dive right into it. The first question is how to manage time for studies. You wanna start with this?
Right. So personally, I manage time for studying by first of all, you want an ideal schedule. Like you want to make
Basically, the best possible scenario for your timetable, because there will always be like uncertainties. So it's like, you know how you have a timetable in school, you also want to have a timetable for your home, for when you should study, when you should do your hobbies, when you should do all those. But even then, that is we call it the ideal schedule because there will always be uncertainties. And well, if something changed, like maybe you got home late or an assignment is taking longer than it should, then you're going to have to sacrifice something else. But even then, you will probably end up being more productive if you have this ideal schedule than if you just go with the flow, which we all know will just end up to procrastination.
And it's much better to have, like, for example, 2 hours of studying instead of studying from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. because you may have different things on what to do at 7 p.m. between 9 p.m. on different days. So it's better to have a duration instead of a time limit.
Okay, next question. What study techniques do you use? Study techniques? Is this talking about like Pomodoro technique or something?
Probably.
Well, I don't really use any study techniques. It's sort of relating to the previous question actually. It's mostly just timetable and time management. But this is something I've really noticed ever since I changed my habit. Using Notion and Google Calendar has greatly improved my productivity. Because like most of the time we don't even know what we're supposed to do. Like you think you know what you're supposed to do, but you don't actually know. And then when you get the time when you're supposed to study, you end up being confused on what to do and end up just looking at your phone. Well, if you have like a to-do list, even if you're not motivated, you'll be like, oh, okay, I have this amount of things to do, and so you'll have some sort of drive and sort of forced to do things that maybe you didn't want to, but it's for your own good. You wanna add?
Study techniques. Yeah, this is kind of a vague question. I don't know if it's like do you read the textbook to study? Do you read the notes? Do you do past papers? But if it's related to that, personally, past papers are the best ways to study. There's a saying that blunt force trauma, or basically any kind of trauma, is the best way to learn from something. And let's say you make a simple mistake on a test, you will never repeat it again. Trust me, I will know. So if you have enough of those, you will know what to study and how to answer those questions when they eventually come up in your future tests.
For the next question, how to stay focused when studying? How to stay focused?
Focused.
You wanna start?
Okay. Well, first of all, if I were you, I will turn off any kind of social media platform like Discord, Instagram, WhatsApp. I will just put my phone at rest mode or go to the do not disturb mode for most of the apps.
Or even better, put your phone like 10 kilometers away from you. So
Yeah.
even if you wanted to play your phone, you'll be too lazy to do it.
Or ask your sibling to hide it. That.
I'm sure they're good at those things.
And then you need to have that kind of mindset. When you're doing something, what's most likely gonna happen is that you're most likely gonna focus on it when you are too focused on it. It's kind of a weird way to rephrase it, but when you're doing something, you will have that mindset of, I need to continue this, I need to finish this. It's just so close. I have a few more numbers to do. I might as well just finish it. And if you are able to do that, then you're most likely going to be able to finish past papers or finish any kind of reviews, questions easily without being distracted.
Yeah, this is a technique I use especially during exams, so I guess this is also answering the previous questions. In order for you to focus, well, most of us, we have problems on not feeling motivated to study. And so, why do we not feel motivated? Well, it's because we have so much other things, so much other fun things to do, like, play games, chat with your friends, or whatever. So, what I do during exams is I would purposely make myself bored. Like, less than 5 minutes of social media a day, chatting only if I need to ask questions, and not watching any Netflix or YouTube. So if naturally you're bored and you lack dopamine, you'll end up find studying somewhat exciting, because relative to doing nothing, the human likes to do something, even though it might
Is the only source of.
Yeah, but as long as you have something to do, it can keep you going. So yeah. That's how I usually focus during exams. How to handle stress during studies.
Go first.
Stress? Well, for me, this could vary from different people. I can see some people, after exams, they just go home and play games. I wouldn't be able to do that, because it would just add more to my stress. But what I would do is just do nothing. Not do nothing. You just sit down and relax, and you just, it's basically meditation, and then you just focus on your breath. And one thing is, usually when you're stressed is because you're focusing on a little area. So you're focusing on only a small dot, but when you can see the bigger picture, then you'll see how little this thing actually is. It's not that big of a deal. Example, you're stressed of a test. Well, if you see in the grand scheme of things, one test will only be one of the, I don't know, how many tests do we do in a year? If you see from the perspective of 1 year, this one test is so minimal. So yeah, that's how I usually handle stress. See the bigger picture.
For me, usually when I'm studying and I feel stressed out, there's so many things to study on, I would I would stop studying for at least 10 to 15 minutes. I would spend my time with my family, play with the dog to reduce the stress. That's the best way.
Yes.
But if you don't have a pet, spend time with your family. They're the best way to relieve the stress that you have right then and there. But don't play games, since it's gonna be too distracting. You're gonna say, oh, one more match, oh, one more match, oh, one more match. And in the end, you're not gonna study at all.
And then you get more tilted, and then you get more mentally upset.
Exactly.
And you actually require a lot of focus on games. So if you use that focus on games, you'll end up having less focus on other things.
Exactly.
Well, unless you're a genius or something. Next question. How to get rid of stage fright? I think this question was relating to the upcoming FES Talks event, where it's a speech. Yeah, do you wanna start?
Okay, so there's no really removing stage fright. It's still gonna be there. No matter how confident you are, no matter how many times you do speeches, there will still be a moment of panic there. And the best way to counteract that is, obviously, you need to practice. This can be in the form of talking to yourself in a mirror, or recording yourself in a video, or it could even be doing your speech in front of a family member or even friends.
Yeah, basically you need to be sort of self-centralized when doing speech. You need to realize when you're doing speech, you're the main character of the story. You get the spotlight. Yeah, so I don't think there's any real way to get rid of stage fright. I think even the best people at giving speeches, they still get stage fright. It's just that they're used to it. the scariest moment of giving speech is when you get up on stage. Because you don't know what you will. You don't know what happened. It's uncertain. But once you get the start, you'll probably. If the start is good, the end will probably be better. Yeah, it's like, I mean, when we record this episode, the hardest part of this episode is the intro. We took like 10 takes. But then the other parts, they're easy because the introduction is usually the hardest thing to do. But yeah, I think the best way to practice is either mirror or recording yourself. And if you find that like, oh, I'm cringe, or like, oh, it's so awkward, then well, at least it's awkward for yourself. Like you haven't performed in a big audience, so you have time to improve, and you have to keep on repeating. But don't remember word by word. You need to remember the key points, because if you remember just like the whole speech, by the way, that would be an amazing memory. But if you remember the whole speech, you will probably end up talking like a robot. Like you need to be one with the speech. You have to feel with the speech.
Personalize it. How to make friends.
How to make friends.
Wow.
Mostly, if you want to make friends, probably the easiest way. I mean, if they're like, especially from other classes or other grades, the best way to approach someone is if you have the same interest as them. Like if you have the same hobby or same, I don't know, you idolize some people. But the thing about people is, to make friends, you need to approach first. Like, who knows that they actually want to be friends with you, but they also don't have the courage. So basically, you have to be the first step. You have to make the uncomfortable move. You have to get out of your comfort zone. And yeah, you have anything?
Yeah. So approximately every 2 of 3 people are introverted. That means 1 out of 3 people are extroverted. So the chances are that, like Keanan said, the people that you want to make friends, they might also want to be friends with you, but they're too scared. So it's better to make the first move, like, hey, do you want to be friends? Or hey, can I get your number? Hey. Not not in a romantic way, but in a platonic friendship way.
But yeah, short talks usually help. Like it doesn't have to be that you immediately get close to someone. You can gradually get close. I mean, I think that's how most friendships are formed.
Yeah, but if you really want to be close with them, you don't have to force it. It will just naturally develop.
You can't force it.
Yeah, you can't force a close friendship.
Okay, bonus segment. This is gonna be a quick one. Who makes the feeds for student council? Well, we have the
head of public relations, Joykan Wang, and the editing team, the videography team.
Yeah, we have like a couple branches. We have some people design for arts. We have some video editing and photos and stuff. Mostly volunteers, but also the art division helps. What's your zodiac sign?
I don't know.
Gemini. I think he's Aries.
I have COVID. Any show recommendations?
Suits.
Show recommendations.
Suits.
Better Call Saul.
What is that?
Friends.
Can I have your number? No, but you can have my IG.
0812.
Yo, somewhere here. Okay.
Are you seeing anyone now, or are you single?